Welcome to Kava and Kettlebells, where we talk about Kava, fitness, and life. Let's get Kava-fied.
All right. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Charles. Welcome back to the show.
Hey guys, this is Heidi. Thank you so much for tuning back in. If you haven't already, go ahead, give this episode a thumbs up, hit the bell to subscribe, share with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at Kava_kettlebells, and really help us get this message out. All right, on today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to achieve sustainable fitness and wellness goals to be superior. All right, first we will start with our workout of the day.
And when we say superior, we're not saying better than other people, but kind of are.
Kind of are.
The best version of yourself.
Yes, a superior version of yourself, but we'll get into that. So yeah, let's do our workout of the day. So today we were at the gym and I did back and biceps. We were at the 24-hour gym, so we don't have, it's a little bit smaller, don't have as much access to as much equipment, but it's usually quieter. I like it. Yep. So I started off with dumbbell curls just to kind of warm up, and then I did chin-ups. I've been trying to do weighted chin-ups where I just hold a dumbbell between my feet and I'll do the chin-up and then I'll just kind of hold it and slowly let myself down, get a nice little burn. And then I went and did lat pull downs. Then I did hammer curls. I did a seated cable row. Then I did some waiter curls. I think that's about all I did. And then I was having a pretty bad headache, so I just wanted to kind of take my hair down. Ponytails give me a headache. And I just ended with extra long stair stepper.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, today for me was legs. And my legs were a little sore today from my previous leg workout. As you all know, I tend to overtrain and don't take days off. But so I was still a little sore, so did a lot of stretching in the beginning, and then just did some like kind of light, deep squats. So I went up to 225, and that was kind of the max weight I did, but was making sure to go nice and slow. Kind of like I guess did, on the negative portion, right? We'll try to go a little bit slower, and then we'll try to hold it kind of down at the bottom, then pop back up. So. Did that, it's kind of more of like a stretch pump exercise. Did walking lunges, as always, hit my calves. Again, if you hear me talk about working calves before, I like to do standing calf raises. That's my favorite type. So the type of machine where I'm standing up versus like the sitting ones. I prefer that. And then been, trying to hammer my hamstrings a lot more lately. So
hammer the hammies.
Hammer the hammies. I hammered them today. Did some lying hamstring curls. And then ended off with some, I guess I call them like goblet squats, but it's where you take the dumbbell and I take a very, very wide stance and do squats, essentially holding it and then going down. Kind of between.
So like a sumo.
Yeah, so kind of like a sumo squat, but holding the dumbbell. And I like that because then I go with a very, very wide stance. I feel like it hits the inner of my leg. And also when I go up, I actually feel it in my ass a lot.
Yeah, I would say the more you hinge with that, the more it's going to really emphasize that booty.
Yeah, so try and get that. It's big boy booty summer. So try and get that going, even though I'm trying to cut right now. Then
you never want to cut the booty, though.
I don't want to cut the booty.
No.
And then ended off with 13 minutes of stair stepper. It's not a crazy amount of cardio, but been adding cardio every single day, so it adds up over the week.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, let's get into our episode. So how to achieve those sustainable fitness and wellness goals. I think the biggest point to this that we try and drive home with everyone is there's not just like one thing, that there's not one key. It's not just the magic workout, the magic supplement. It's really a combination of everything, and you have to create a lifestyle with it. You can't just hammer yourself for a month with workouts and expect yourself to get this physique and get the mental clarity. It's not going to work. You really need to look at it as a lifestyle change.
Yeah, I think too, it's something that it comes over, like you said, time.
Yeah.
And especially with this, there's a lot of trial and error. And also keep in mind like seasons of life.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to say this because like, you don't want to be too hard on yourself. Like, I think you got to give yourself grace in some areas of life. And, if you have a hard couple months, maybe a setback, or you're pursuing other things to get ahead, some items in your life might have to take a back seat. And I think that's okay.
Absolutely. That is a really fantastic point, is seasons of life. But again, that's why this is a lifestyle. And, it's really important to make it fit into your lifestyle. But that's why everything kind of has to adjust eventually, not overnight. Like you can't, that's the biggest failure I see, is when people try and do all or nothing. They try and just change everything at once. Their sleep, their nutrition, their fitness, everything all at once, and you can't. Like you have to do it gradually, one thing at a time. And you do have to understand the seasons of life. When you're moving, when you are starting a family, starting a new job, that's naturally going to take over, and that's okay. So get out of that all or nothing mindset of, oh, now my workouts have to be 10 minutes and this is failure. I'm just going to give up and stop. And that's what so many people do, instead of just saying, this is a season of life. That's okay. I'm going to adjust. I'm still going to do it, but maybe I'm going to pull back a little bit. That's okay. And then when I get to another season of life, I can prioritize this a little bit more.
Yeah. And, I think one of the things too is you really, if you want to be something, you have to live it, right? And you have to start living it, and you have to build, you have to put systems in the place to get yourself there. And especially when it comes to like fitness and health and wellness and just becoming better as a person, I don't like the whole, I think there's a place for motivation, but it comes down to discipline.
Yeah.
And I hate quoting Jocko because I'm not really like a huge Jocko fan.
I feel like you are.
So being prior military, especially when Jocko got popular, that's what in all the all calls.
Yeah, for real.
People will play all of Jocko stuff, but he does have a lot of good things. And one of the things I really like from him is the discipline equals freedom, because that's what I've noticed more and more in my life is the more disciplined I am about whether it's health and fitness goals, right? Diet, training, financial stuff, right? Being disciplined with investing, saving, making the right money moves, and even like with my career, being disciplined in certain areas. Those patterns over months, years, looking back over, a decade plus, it's gotten me to where I do have freedom, right? When you build up a lot of muscle, I have the freedom to be able to go take a week vacation, not worry about, what I'm eating, because my body can handle that, because I built up the muscle, I built up the low body fat to where it doesn't set me back. Same thing with like finances, right? You build yourself up to the point to where if you have, a $5,000, $10,000 expense come out of nowhere, you can handle that burden, and it's not a big deal. You can move on because, again, you've been disciplined with your money. You've been disciplined with your savings to where that doesn't set you back. Yeah,
and that's one thing that if you're in the fitness realm, like you get it, but that is why fitness is so huge for us. And it's not about, our body and how it looks. Like that's a positive side effect, but it's all about that discipline. And when you are disciplined to go to sleep, to alter your nutrition, to wake up early and get to the gym 3 to 7 days a week, however much you go, that absolutely carries over into every other aspect of your life. And there are studies that show that business owners who regularly prioritize working out and living that lifestyle, they are more successful with their businesses. And business owners and entrepreneurs who do not prioritize that, they are not as successful. And that is the big thing, is that discipline. And clients always get in a slump, because everyone does. On this journey, you will get in a slump. You will get in a plateau. That's part of it. But it's all about having that discipline to get over it. And clients, that's where clients, it's either make or break for them, where they will ask, like, I'm so unmotivated. I need that motivation. And I have to explain to them, like, I can give you all the pep talks in the world, but it's on you. Like, you have to have that discipline. You have to want it. Like Charles was saying, you have to envision your life and you have to want it for yourself in order to better your life, in order to be successful. You have to create this lifestyle. No one can, pep talk you to success. And it's about discipline. Motivation is a feeling, it's fleeting, but discipline, you have power over that and you have that control.
Yeah. So I think one of the first things I kind of want to hit is, because we started this with like, being superior, right? Some people might take that offense. But I don't think you should. And I think you should take an honest assessment at your life. And so, I look back kind of like in my previous career, and, in the military, I was an officer, right? So I was always kind of like in charge of and leading people. Then my last assignment, I was an instructor at one of our leadership schools. And, every 6 weeks I had a class of 14 students come in, and I had to kind of like help shape, mentor, and make these people better. And so much of what I found came down to leadership and making sure I pulled my people up was making sure they took honest assessments of their self, right? So no shit, like I think it's very easy to have excuses and, to be a victim about everything. But if you take ownership over everything that you do, especially when it comes to like fitness and diet, right? It's very easy to be like, oh, well, I had a hard week, so I deserve that cheeseburger. Or even like celebrations, right? Like, oh man, I got through this week and, I did this, so I deserve this. And I'm not saying to, not give yourself grace, but like, if you're constantly doing that and you're not taking a realistic look at where you are and where you want to be and have a plan to get there, a tangible plan, right? And I know this is cliche, but I'm really big on SMART goals, right? You got to look at, okay, what's reasonable, what's realistic, right? A very specific goal. So either A, I want to, lose 10 pounds by this date, give yourself a timeline, and you got to stick to that and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, or even, small goals. It's best, in my opinion, like we said, this isn't going to happen overnight. So you need to set those small goals to start with. So your first goal can be, I want to walk for 30 minutes, 5 days a week, something really small that you can easily get that win. And that's going to build that fire in you, and that's going to motivate you. Another thing that I think is huge, obviously, is, getting a trainer, getting a coach, someone who's going to hold you accountable, that outside force. It is essential that your partner is on the same page as well. I will tell you right now, it is near impossible for you to succeed if you have a partner that you are living with that is on a completely different page from you. If they are eating differently, if their schedule is differently, you can succeed, but it will be very, very challenging. So that is number one, is make sure that you and your partner are, on the same page and you're in this together. And then get a coach and get, a trainer. I love the company I work for. It's called TrainWell. And the way that it works is you are paired with a real life personal trainer, certified personal trainer, and you take a little quiz. It pairs you with the trainer, and then you have an onboarding call with them. It's a video call. And then they talk about everything they need to know. What's your setup? Are you doing workouts at the gym? Are you doing them at home? Do you have equipment? No equipment? So that they can create completely custom workouts to you. They can start at 10-minute, walking workouts all the way up to really intense bodybuilder style workouts, whatever is going to fit the client best. And then you have an app where you can communicate with them. You can chat with them whenever you need to. So you have that constant communication with them. They can see when you do your workouts. They can see when you don't do your workouts. So then they can call you out on your shit and be like, I saw you didn't do that. Like, let's go. And again, you're paired with the right trainer. So maybe you want someone who's really hard or you want someone who's soft. You can always switch trainers as well. So you can find that perfect, trainer for you to be in your corner, to help hold you accountable, and to really help gradually create that lifestyle for you. So if that's something you're interested in, we offer 14-day free trial. So I'm going to go ahead and share the link in this bio, and you can try a 14-day free trial, no questions asked, cancel it, and just see, if it works for you. So really having that accountability is huge. Starting gradually, making those small goals, hitting them, making bigger goals, and gradually creating this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think it's important, if someone they need that trainer. I mean, me personally, like, I can never have a personal trainer, and you've tried training me and it just doesn't work out.
But you've also been doing this since you were 16 years old. You've been doing this for 20 years. For sure.
But I do think it's important. But I do want to touch on, you're talking about like, having a partner who's in a lifestyle with you. And I think that is 100% a factor. Even just having the right partner who compliments you and builds you up and supports your goals and pushes you the right way. But it's not even just your partners who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
And I was just doing a podcast recently last month, and I was talking about the idea of your network, right? And the people that you're surrounding yourself with. And, I hate saying this, but, sometimes if you need to, if your old friends are doing the same thing, let's say you're trying to get sober, you're trying to be healthier, you're trying to get on your diet, you're trying to not go out as much, you're trying to, be better with your money, and your friend group, they're always going out partying, they're staying out late, they don't exercise, right? They eat shitty food, they spend frivolously, and they don't do any type of education on things to level up. It's going to be really hard for you not to break out of that environment. It's the whole crabs in the bucket mentality where they're probably going to give you shit for not going out. They're going to give you shit for starting to drink Kava instead of, Jack and Daniels. So you want to surround yourself with a network of people. And I try to do this. I always try to surround myself with people who are better than me, smarter than me, more successful, more fit, right? That way, I'm always trying to keep on leveling up, and it keeps me kind of on my toes. And again, it's not saying, don't be friends with people and, don't be open to new friendships and different types of people, but the people that you're constantly surrounded with and the people that you're kind of looking at and imitating and striving to be, make sure that aligns with your goals. I mean, if your goal is to live that lifestyle, I mean, let's say just being, not doing much, not exercising, just,
drinking beer, watching football.
Yeah. I mean, then, hey man, that's great. And that's the great thing about this life is you can kind of choose what you want to do. But if that's not what you want and you want to get better, you gotta surround yourself with the right people. You have to listen to the right things. You have to watch the right stuff. You gotta read the right books. That way you get yourself out of that old self and you keep on progressing to be the new self.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point that is hard as adults is the idea of change. And you will naturally change in your life. That's okay. That's expected. We are not the people we were when we started dating.
No,
we are
not even close.
We're totally different as individuals. We're different as a couple. And that's okay. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see where we were when we met when we were 18 and 19 years old.
And it's fun to talk about.
It is. It's so
cool.
fun.
It's cool to look back and
see that growth.
Yeah. And you should be doing that. If you look back and you're the same, the same thing you were 10 years ago.
That's a red flag.
Yeah. And ask yourself, is that what I want? Where do I want to be 10 years from now? What spot do I want to be in? I turned 36 this year. And I think about when I hit my mid 40s. And, I'm already envisioning what I want my life to look at, physically, right? Where my fitness state is, my health state, career wise, finance wise, and relationship wise too. And again, it goes back to season of life. Right now, our girls, our oldest turned 11.
That's so crazy.
Dude, I know,
little preteen.
Just last week, and so right now, relationship wise, I'm really emphasizing the time I have with them because, I think about it, it's really realistically, I only have about, 7 more years with her. She moves out at 18 and kind of goes on her own. So,
yeah. So I think as adults, it's okay to not still be besties with the people you were friends with in high school. You can still keep in touch. That's what's great about social media. But you don't have to. I feel like people are so stuck in this idea of I need to be that same person with those same relationships. And as you grow and other people don't grow in the same way, it's natural that you separate. And that's okay. That's okay. That person was still a part of your life. They still molded you into the person you are today. But that doesn't mean that you have to keep them with you. And you have to really evaluate those around you and be honest with yourself. Are they pushing you to the surface, or are they pulling you down? And if they're pulling you down, it's okay to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to meet with you tonight. I want to go to bed early so that I can wake up and go to the gym. That's okay. It's okay to prioritize your health and your wellness and your future in that way. And if friends are holding you back, it's okay to part ways. Like it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. With that too, I think it's okay to be selfish a bit, especially when you're really trying to turn around your journey. You got to be a little selfish. And I know that sounds bad, guys.
I don't even like the word selfish because, what is more important than you and your health and your family? Yeah. Like if you don't have your health, then you're nothing. So like, why wouldn't you want to prioritize that? But
yeah, I mean, you gotta be, let's just say quote unquote selfish for the sake of the argument. You gotta prioritize what you want. So again, if that means, waking up early, that like Heidi just said, it might mean like you can't stay out till midnight with, the homies, you have to go back and you have to get up early the next day. And if that's what you want, if you want to be that person who gets up at 4 a.m. every day, nails their workout, comes home, gets a good meal, and then kills the rest of the day and repeat and repeat and repeat, you gotta put that first, right? You can't put other people's, feelings and other people's priorities in front of yours. You gotta focus on you. And this will kind of start going a different path here, but also like, don't be afraid to be different and don't be ashamed for trying to be fit and being fit. I can't tell you how many times, I've always been that guy who is, very, very mindful of what I eat, right? And even just, kind of things that I do. And, people used to always give me shit for, oh, here comes Charles again, like
packing his chicken,
packing his meals, making sure. And I got this a lot, like too, like when I would go on what are called like TDYs back in the military. And that's like not really deployments. That's like, you might go to like, cool places.
Like you're still in the United States, just maybe you're going to a different state.
Yeah. Or even like overseas, but just like not to like a combat zone, right?
Yeah.
And, I was blessed. I was able to go see lots of parts of the world and I made sure I made time for that. I think about times like when I was over TDY in like Europe, a lot of times, like I still kept to my schedule, right?
Yeah.
Like I would still make sure I got a workout in. I would still make sure that most of the day I got high protein meals in. And then, I would still give myself time to go out and explore and to do things, with the crew, the guys and stuff like that. But, when it came, 10 p.m., like, no, I wasn't going to sit out and, go partying and go hitting the bars. Like, no, I wanted to go back to bed. I wanted to get a good sleep because I wanted to wake up in the morning before, work started, get a good workout in. And then for me, that's what blessed me is feeling good, sticking to my routine and not letting, outside forces affect how I live my life.
Yeah. So this kind of brings us to the point that we alluded to in the beginning is you need to be superior. And what I mean by that is stop trying to be average. You don't want to be average. If you have goals, if you have fitness goals, health and wellness goals, and you want them to be sustainable, you have to change your mindset to be better than average. The average person is sick all the time. The average friend of mine who has kids, their kids are sick all the time. The average person is overweight and obese. The average person is depressed and on antidepressant medicine. The average person is not doing so hot, if we're being honest. Why do you want to be average? If you want to be a superior version of yourself, you have to get out of the average mindset. You have to stop looking at the average person and trying to replicate that, because why? Like, why do you want to replicate that? Like Charles was saying, you need to surround yourself with people who are better than you, and don't look at that as competition. That's a big mistake I see also, is people look at those who are better than them, and instead of learning from them, they look at it as competition. I need to be better than you, so I need to surround myself with people who are less than me so that I can be the best. And that's a terrible mindset to have. You need to surround yourself with people who are better than you so that you can learn from them so that you can grow. You really need to have a growth mindset. And yeah, it just starts with not being average.
Yeah, I think too that you don't let people, and I see this a lot as well, and I know you see it with your clients too, is when people are living this lifestyle, a lot of people don't get it, right? If someone's not into, working out, exercising, eating a very mindful diet, right? That's holistic, right? So that might mean, not drinking. I can't tell you how many times we got to dinner or to an event or something like that. And again, people look at you crazy for not drinking alcohol. And to me, it's almost like, well, do you look at me crazy because I'm not like smoking meth right now or something like that? Like why? Like alcohol is like one of the most destructive substances.
I know, but it's so normalized. It's so okayed.
Because I choose not to put that in my body, you look at me like there's something wrong. Well, in fact, no, motherfucker. I'm looking at you because, again, I'm sorry, but like you're not, I don't want to look like you. I don't want to have your physique. I don't want to have your performance. I don't want to have your lifestyle habits. So for you to say that, again, it just kind of like, I know that sounds very cocky, but, you look at my lifestyle and again, pointing fingers and judging is just all the more reason for me to be like, yeah, that's not what I want.
And yeah,
I'm doing my thing.
And that's a perfect example of you just don't surround yourself by those people and you don't care. And that's been something that it's easy now. Like we just don't give a shit. Like if you're judging us, we don't care because we love our life and like we feel so good. Like we're able to wake up and feel energized and we have, we don't have health issues. Our kids aren't sick. Like we live a very vibrant, healthy life and it doesn't bother us what other people think. And so that I think goes along with that mindset of getting out of average is don't be bothered by what people think about you. Like if people are going to judge you prioritizing your health and wellness, who cares? Like that's on them. Like that sounds like a personal problem for them. That's unfortunate for them. That has nothing to do with you. And that is so important for you to understand. Like it is okay for you to prioritize yourself. And if everyone is judging you, that's on them. Like that's a sad life for them that has nothing to do with you. Do not let it affect you. Do not get emotional about that. If anything, take it as a compliment. There's a song I always laugh because it's called, I don't even remember who sings it. Shensia, I think is who sings it. And she goes, my success makes you vexed. And it's true. Like that is, in my opinion, so true is when you are successful, when you're able to prioritize yourself in that way, you're going to stand taller, you're going to shine brighter, and people aren't going to like you because of that. And again, that's on them. Think of it as a compliment that you have become so successful in your lifestyle and that they're jealous of that and they want that because they are always sick, because their body hurts, they don't feel good. And you are setting this example of wellness and greatness. And maybe you'll encourage some of them to come over. And if you don't, that's on them. That's their loss, not yours.
Yeah. I think of it too, like, I know some of the stuff like saying it might sound like harsh. And to me, like, I don't know, it's not harsh to me. And again, I come from a different background where, we speak very harshly to each other and feedback is very candid and upfront.
A lack of coddling.
Yes, expected. So that's just kind of like my upbringing and again, kind of like where I come from and my mentality. But I also, I'll say it like, we're very, faith-based, right? Christians. And a lot of what I believe too is always being willing and open to speak to other people and to show them and to help them, right? So I don't judge. And what's funny is I don't really judge other people. I know some of the things I said might sound judgmental, but in fact, I found the opposite where I've been judged so harshly by other people because of the lifestyle that I live. And I always try again to have grace and to try to explain to them and a nice way of saying, well, hey, this is why I do go to bed early, because I prioritize waking up very early in the morning because I love to work out, and here's the benefits I get from it. And, working out blesses me. It makes me feel better. My immune system's better. I'm stronger. I'm just performing better as a human. And also, if I'm eating certain meals, and again, people always poke, especially bodybuilders, right? People will always poke fun at you. Oh, here comes, chicken and vegetables again. Well, hey, this is why I'm eating that, because I have, these goals I'm trying to hit, and this food I see as fuel.
Because that's what food is.
That's what food is.
It's fuel.
And this is why I eat it, because it performs these functions. And this is why I choose not to eat that, because it doesn't align with those goals. So again, having that ambassador mentality with people who, again, might just not know. And it's one thing to be ignorant of a lifestyle, but it's also another thing to be, again, just trying to intentionally drag someone down.
Yeah, and I think that was a really good point, is most people are ignorant and most people just don't know. And so, yeah, you don't need to be mean about it. And what we're saying is, like Charles said, it's not us judging. It's more a defense mechanism of, when we are judged, it doesn't bother us because we know that this is superior. And yeah, you just have to educate people. You have to educate people nicely. And if they still don't want to listen, then the best way to pull people onto your side is to lead by example. And you lead by example. You don't let society pull you down, because society is trying to pull we won't go down that rabbit hole. We won't put our tinfoil hats on. But do not let others in society pull you down. You need to just stand strong. You need to live that lifestyle over time, get to that place, learn from others around you, surround yourself with people who are better than you so you can learn from them, be open to growing, have that growth mindset, and don't look to be average.
Yeah. Don't look to be average, guys. And again, take that as you will. Hopefully this didn't ruffle feathers. We didn't intend for it to be that way. We intended for this to be a good just episode on talking lifestyle, kind of how it pertains to people within, who are really into their fitness goals and kind of leveling up, and, to give you confidence in what you're doing. And again, to, give you that idea of, hey, discipline is okay. Again, we're not saying that you can't every now and then, let loose, and skip the,
Guys, we went to bed at 9:00 the other night. We get crazy. Don't act like we don't get crazy.
And that obviously, if you were on our Instagram, you see every fucking week we have pizza from our favorite pizza shop here in Fort Myers. Shout out to Uncle Rico's.
Yep, Uncle Rico's.
Uncle Rico's is by far the most amazing pizza. Please, if you're in Fort Myers area and you're going to do one thing, let's say you're in a layover here, which I don't know if there's layovers in Fort Myers.
I don't think so.
You're driving through.
We're not a hot spot for.
You're driving from Tampa to Miami, and you got past your Fort Myers. Take an hour, stop by Uncle Rico's Pizza, get a slice of pizza. It is so fucking good to eat. Where yes, pretty much every week we get Uncle Rico's.
And you know what? Do people judge us? Probably. Do we care? No.
It's so good though. But hey. Again, I that meal, it's not only a blessing mentally,
which is important.
It's super important to give yourself that, but also physically it does help us. Because again, once you've built up once you build up these guns, for real, when you have more muscle, and this is what a lot of people understand, people just focus on burning fat, and being skinny, and eating salad and stuff like that, and low calorie. No, you need, male or female, I'm not saying you gotta be yoked up in a fucking bodybuilder, but you need to have lean mass, because that is what gives your body resiliency. And lean mass is another word for muscle. Yes. That helps you take on extra calories. So again, we'll go back to the beginning. I was talking about discipline equals freedom, right? So because of the discipline, because we're disciplined 6 days out of the week, I can handle, taking down sometimes 2 pizzas
Yeah.
at once. And then the next day, it's like no big deal. In fact, the next day, it's a little shock to my system, and I have an amazing workout.
That's when you hit those PRs. That's when I hit my deadlift PR.
Yeah.
My deadlift PR was fueled by Uncle Rico's. So, all right, guys, we could go on these tangents forever.
This was not sponsored by Uncle Rico's. We're just massive fans.
Yes. But again, if you want to have those sustainable health and wellness goals, it has to become a lifestyle. It won't happen overnight. You have to give yourself time. Find the support you need, whether that's a trainer, your loved ones, and don't be average. All right, guys.
That being said,
Bula.
Bula.